Hey, everybody, we're back in the marriage shop.
What's going on?
We were on location last week, and we thank those of you that were able to join us. It was like taking you in our bag on vacation. So we're back. We had a little bit of sun, and we are excited to be back. Back in Evans, where it's once again hot.
Hot. Apparently, it was amazing last week, though. Apparently, it was like perfect, 80s, and the humidity was low.
Yeah.
But don't
yeah.
let the smooth taste fool you. This is the South, and it feels like it.
That's so
On the
funny.
East Coast. Yes, indeed.
So Casey, we're so glad that you've been joining us every week. It's
What's
nothing
up,
better
guys?
than having family in the house. And Bob and Gwen, so
Yeah.
glad that you two could join us as well.
Welcome.
Thanks for checking in early. And we just appreciate you guys being on. So
Nicolette's on as well. Hey.
Oh, hey, Nicolette. Thanks for joining us. So we're back. And, last week we were talking about vacations because we were trying to squeeze in a little mini vacation before everybody has to go to their respective areas for the fall. And so the next few weeks will be a little bit challenging, but we'll do our best to be here. And if we can't be here, maybe we'll record something. Maybe we'll just follow up when we get back.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think last time we were on one of those long haul road trips, we actually were recording like on the road or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we might do that too. It's an option.
We might do that. I don't know. Yeah. So we'll see. But we don't believe in traveling hard. We may travel long, but not hard. So we'll be taking some breaks along the way, and we'll probably see you all then. So yeah. And so it was good. Wendy says we're glad to be back. Yeah, more or less. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
But I don't mind seeing you all from a cool place from time to time.
No, I mean, I think vacations and breaks are good.
Yeah.
Taking some time to get away, to be together, to reset. A couple of things coming up. So some of you, if you're in the Augusta area, you know that the Weekend to Remember is coming up. And, we've been kind of volunteering with Family Life for the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
The Weekend to Remember is the weekend of September the 9th, 10th, and 11th here in Augusta. And we got an email this morning that they're going to start a buy one, get one offer.
Oh, is that starting?
Yep. That's going to start. So I'll check on my phone in a few minutes and give you the dates. So remind me to do that. Somebody drop that in the chat, but give you those specific dates of when you can kind of go two for the price of one. But buy one, get one is their promotion. And we encourage you to go. I mean, even if you can't go out of town, sometimes just having that nice little break, doing something that requires intentional focus on each other can really kind of reset and recharge your relationship. So we highly recommend it.
Agreed. And even if you can't leave town, they're going to happen at some event center or hotel in your town. So if you can leave, stay at the hotel for the weekend.
Yeah.
Recommend that.
Yeah, we were talking about vacations, but I mean, the truth is being intentional and committing time to be together, right? Without distraction, whether that's without the kids or without work or something, just focusing on each other. Sometimes maybe if you're not feeling like doing anything or not talking to each other or not doing any excursions or any of that stuff, just being in the same place together is so important. And we can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
guilt-free.
We get pulled in so many different directions, whether it's family, it's work, it's kids. So many things compete for your time. If you can make time just to be with each other, do it.
Guilt-free, by the way.
Yeah. And if Mondays at 7 are your time to do that with us, but in the comfort of your own home, We're here for it.
Yeah.
So, hey, Anna Reeves, welcome back. It's been a long time. We miss you. Mm-hmm. Yes. All right.
So for the last couple of weeks, we've been kind of talking about some simple stuff, right?
Yep.
Like, who dresses you? For example.
That was fun.
That was fun. I mean, and so, and what's that all about? How we see each other and all that. Does your wife dress you? I don't know. Right. Before that, we talked about what to do when nothing changes. You've been trying to, there's some change you've been wanting, but it's not happening, right? It seems like maybe you're not being listened to. Nobody cares, whatever, right? So we talked about that a bit. So you'll have to go back and take a look at those if you like to see where those went. But we recommend you go back and take a look at those. They're on Facebook, and all these videos are also on YouTube. Yep. We're live on YouTube right now. Mm-hmm. And so, but this week we're going to take a little bit we're going to go pull into the rest stop for a second because it's Second Monday, right? And on Second Monday, you all know what it is. It's all about, or somewhat about, singles. Yeah. Now, before you married folks say, well, I'm good, I'm out. No. Yeah. You just stick around.
We need you.
We need you because every single thing that we talk about on these so-called Second Mondays for singles is relevant to married people, whether it be something that's happening in your life right now or whether it be something that you can speak to. And so tonight, for sure, a lot of you are going to be able to speak to one of these because you did it one way or the other, right? See, now I'm talking about dating, by the way, right? So back in my day, it was all about dating. You go out, you call, and you go to that movie or you go to that dinner or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Well, things have evolved since my day, right? Now there was online dating, even when Wendy and I met back in '97, right? Yeah. But that was really kind of on the fringes, right? And a lot of people who met, in fact, even on probably up as late as 2000, people who met online, they tell you kind of like off to the side in secret, like, we dated online.
When you ask that question, how'd y'all meet?
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah, we online, because people look at you like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna work. Right? That was just the truth about it, right? Yeah. But at least what people thought. But I think what people began to discover is, wow, this works. And why wouldn't it work? I mean, we hear stories about people with pen pals that they married and all that. So certainly if you can write letters and fall in love and get married, why not an app, right?
Yeah. I mean, so we're not here to be the experts on dating apps, and we are not endorsing any specific dating app. But what we want to talk about tonight is really kind of comparing and contrasting the two different ways of dating. So whether you're an online dating app person or traditional dating is the way that you want to go and that works for you. And we want to hear from you. So we're definitely opening this one up. Yeah. And so I just want to know from those of you that are on, let us know. Drop a comment in there if you met through an online app, because we're going to reserve our opinions for a little bit later. But if you met through an online app or on Facebook or through social media, drop that in there, because we want to hear from you, because you're the experts on it more so than we are. Alice Garner, thanks for joining us.
Alice Garner, hey,
welcome. So if you just joined us, we're Mike and Wendy. We're in the Marriage Shop, and we're talking about traditional dating versus online dating. And I think, what did I say? To swipe or not to swipe?
That's what you said.
Yeah.
I mean, and so, yeah. In fact, I want to know, even if you didn't meet online, just put in the chat how you met.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Whoever, however you met, put it in there, right? I will put it in the chat, but Wendy won't let me chat when we're live. So, because I'd be chatting up a storm. But we met kind of like how did we meet? It was like introduction almost.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because this whole topic of dating is near and dear to us, because our daughters are in an age and at a stage where dating is really kind of in the forefront of their focus. So we have one who's working and living independently in Decatur, and then we have another one who is about to head back to school to begin her sophomore year. Yeah. And so in that 19 to 25 year old range, they're certainly focused on dating and trying to figure it out. And so if this isn't for you, it may be for your children or someone else you know.
Yeah.
And so as we kind of look at all the different ways, one of the conversations I had with one of our daughters recently was, traditionally people would meet in college or in school of some sort. So you meet in college, you meet at church, you meet. Yeah, that's what I said. In school, high school or college.
I'm just you went college and church. I just figured I can make sure I scoop up the high school crowd
in general.
You did.
Yeah. Okay. So you meet in school, you meet in college, you meet at church, you meet at work, you meet at a bar or
the club
or the club or friends matchmake, right? They call themselves matchmakers and they set you up on a blind date. I mean, those are generally the ways that you tend to meet people. And so one of our daughters was at a significant advantage because she went to an all-women's school.
You say advantage.
A significant disadvantage.
Oh, disadvantage. Oh,
yes,
yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And so that whole process of kind of feeling it out and, meeting people and all of that, it did in her closed environment. It just wasn't something, it wasn't traditional. I should say that. So that was one challenge. And then it just so happens that same daughter is working at that university. So once again, the likelihood that she'll meet someone at work is kind of low.
Yeah.
But she does go to church. We're thankful for that. So there's a possibility there. And then most recently, she was talking about having gone to a bar or like a club, a different environment.
Right. And she also meets through her other gig, which is, like, some acting, modeling, whatever. And so she'll meet people who have similar interests when she's doing either work or training or things like that.
Yeah.
So there's people to meet.
Yeah, there's people to meet.
And she tends to be kind of an old school, person in that way, right? Preferring a face-to-face interaction versus a virtual one.
Yeah. Oh, so Alice says she met her husband at work in the Army.
Cool. Yep.
Yes. Nicolette says he came into my 2 jobs.
2 jobs. So he was on his game. He was like on his job, like working.
Yes.
2 jobs.
Okay. Anna says met in person and knew who I wanted.
Okay.
All right.
Well then.
That's good. Thank you guys for sharing that. Yeah. So that's good stuff. I mean, we met at work. Yep. And so again, I mean, it's a limited pool, right? But those are generally where people meet. And so, but there's always the person who says, I'm going to hook you up. I know the perfect person for you. Let me introduce you.
That's funny. And you know what I say to that? No, trust no one. Yeah, I don't know, but a lot of people meet that way. But the whole I'm going to introduce you thing, like the blind date stuff, never was my thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it adds an element of entertainment to it. I suppose
it's a little different, an element of surprise.
Well, surprise. One person's surprised, another person's entertainment.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's your thing. Yeah. But so this is where I think, in terms of dating online. And by the way, like this, share it, right, with somebody for sure who wants to be in this conversation. You know who they are. Go ahead and share it with them, right?
Bring them on in.
Yeah, because we're going to try to build this thing slow. And Wendy said we're going to hold our own opinions until the end.
Yeah.
We're going to hold them at least until like 30 minutes after the hour.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And I read about this. We're always trying to at least continue to research and continue to be aware of what's happening in the world as it relates to relationships, right? So COVID, the pandemic had a direct impact on people trying to date.
Yeah.
Because that whole process, if you were a traditional dater, if you relied on being able to meet people or be in places where people were, the pandemic actually just put a total stop on that. And so I saw countless videos of people talking about how hard it was to even fathom dating during the pandemic. And then there were people who maybe had just started dating and found themselves living together during the pandemic. So it threw all of us for a loop. And singles were not spared.
No. And in fact, a lot of singles kind of caught the brunt of it, right? Because, I mean, you tell me, hey, you have to stay in the house with Wendy for the next 6 months. I say, Where do I sign up for that? Yes, absolutely. Right. So some of us had our pandemic partners already pre-assigned, right? But if you're single, and particularly if you're in the dating scene and all that, and then there's nothing.
Yeah.
Right. I can imagine. And so we gave people kind of a hard time, and perhaps rightfully so. But the desire for human connection is really strong. It's important for us to understand that as we try to navigate, through what happened, even what's happening now. And you see it. People would prefer to risk it all, right? Versus be alone.
That's good.
Right. And we'll probably talk about that at some point in the future. But there's some people who would rather be in a bad relationship than not be in any relationship at all. And so you got to understand, the whole point there is to understand the draw of human connection, how important it is for people to connect. And so during the pandemic, if you're single and you need that connection, what do? Maybe you go ahead and download that app because that now becomes your connection to the outside world.
Yeah. And so, I recall that some of the early dating apps were like eHarmony and Match.com. And those were really, they did or introduced like a whole personality index or psychological profile to really kind of identify and help you discover your compatibility. Yeah. And so it's a paid service, you pay into it, you complete hundreds of questions. And then their system, it goes into the system, and that system generates people who are likely to be a good match based on all of the information that you entered. Those are some of the early ones. Now there are dating apps for just about any type of group, interest, age, demographic, anywhere in the world. You name it, there's probably a dating app for it.
Yep. And at this point, all of the research and the algorithms and the AI, there's all kind of factors that go into selecting that. And most of these sites are going to probably tell you, like, if you want to know what the secret sauce is, you won't know it, right? Because there are certain things that, how do I use this in researchy type speak? But there's just certain factors that they try to match up in certain ways that are proprietary. But yeah, there's a process, right? And so, so we're not offering an opinion, but I will say this: there's something to be said for someone or something doing some of the work for you, right? Doing the research and saying, hey, this cluster of things is likely to match up well with this cluster of things. There's probably something to that.
Yeah.
Right. And if there's something to it that may cause us to wonder, like, man, how did we ever find anybody in the first place? Right. We all incompatible, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, right? Yeah. That you say that, because I often wondered, and maybe you guys can tell us if this is true for you, for the married couples. I often wondered if we would be compatible if we put profiles in.
Yeah, I've often wondered that as well. But actually, I'm lying. I've never wondered that.
I just wonder. I'm curious to know what it would generate, right? And if we would be matched through that process.
So you've actually asked the first, really, really important question of the night.
And what's that?
That question. If we were to put our stuff in, if you're married, if you go and you answer all the questions on these profiles and you submitted that, would you be compatible with the person that you married? Right. And I think it's a very interesting question, because there's another thing you can do if you're familiar with apps.
Yeah.
For finding compatible people, is you get to put in things that you want to rule out, right? So let's say you're a Democrat, you can say, hey, I want nobody who identifies as Republican. I want no one who, I want people who do this type of job. I want people who are this tall. So you can kind of narrow it down to what you believe is your ideal person.
It's like Auto Trader.
It's like Auto Trader for people. That's exactly what it is. Right. Oh, Gerald Wilson, what's up, sir? I see you.
Gerald Welcome. And Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Together. Yes.
Hey, so it's you can narrow it down so tight, right? It reminds me of that commercial. Actually, it was an Auto Trader commercial where the person is selecting cars and everything's like flipping and going crazy, and they narrow it down to just a few and then the one.
Yep.
Well, that's what the sites are designed to do.
Yeah.
I do wonder though, like as you take those big chunks, because there's reasons why you rule out certain things, right? Why you set up filters and filter out certain things.
Yeah.
Are you filtering out the right things? Maybe, maybe not. Like for me, I don't know if cigarette smoking were there.
Yeah.
It'd be there. Why? Right? I don't have a personal thing against cigarette smokers. I have personal thing against clothes that smell like cigarette smoke.
Interesting.
So, anyway,
yeah,
but
that's good.
But yeah, I mean, so we filter things down. The thing is, we're filtering all the time, whether you do it on an app or not.
Yes.
You're still filtering all the time.
Yeah, we're constantly filtering information, right? We know what our preferences are. And traditional dating, and we want to try to compare and contrast the two, but traditional dating, that first impression is usually the physical attraction. You see someone that you find attractive, and that's the first draw. In comparison, online dating, you are matched more so on your profile and all the information that you put in, not necessarily on the pic. And what we know is one drawback to online dating apps is that people don't always put their actual picture in there, or they use a picture that is heavily filtered, that they call catfish photos. So,
so yeah, I'm like,
so it's
I'm
about
6'5", 200.
It's about
versus like, like 5'6".
The truth.
300.
Yeah. So, Nicolette, thank you for sharing that. Married at First Sight has shown that there's more to it than the computer program. And a lot of these reality TV shows are based on that, right? Like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Married at First Sight. There's one out on Netflix right now where people wear masks. I can't remember the name of it, but they wear a mask so that they don't see what the person looks like, but they get an opportunity to kind of engage them in person, but not see their face. So it's kind of trying to satisfy both things, right? To see if I'm attracted to everything about you without knowing what you look like.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy, right? Because that show, I haven't caught a full episode, but The Mask, it's kind of crazy. But I think the premise is very interesting, right? And even the premise of being able to select the criteria before selecting the person, because we talked about that a lot, actually, in terms of how do you determine who's the right person for you, and how do you even remain accountable to that, if you will?
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to get caught up. As I've said in the past, you can fall in love with anybody.
Yep.
Right? Anybody, right person, wrong person, whatever. You can actually get attached to anyone. So there's something to be said for eliminating some factors before you make that decision. But this is not a completely academic thing, right? Is what I think Nicolette is alluding to.
Yeah.
It's not a completely academic thing, because you can have all the criteria lined up, but there's something that just doesn't click. What is it? What is the click thing? What does that mean?
The chemistry.
The
feeling of it, right? So there's some things that you just can't know until you're actually in the physical presence of another person, right? And so you could be matched perfectly on paper, but there's something about being in person, right? And the feeling that you get, or the lack of feeling. And that's not based on your actual physical attraction, but just about the feeling that you get. And so that is often referred to as chemistry.
Yeah. And so, right. And that feeling, that's also on the other side. I'm gonna keep on kind of going back and forth. That's the thing that can get you to ignore all those other things that you said you would never quite tolerate.
Yeah. Right? So there are advantages and disadvantages, right? So, on one hand, if I don't want to be shallow and just go based on looks only, then maybe I want to know a little bit more about the person before I actually get to meet them. And now the dating app doesn't delay you seeing them. You do get to see them, or a representation of them.
That's good. A representation.
Yeah. You do get to see them, but meeting in person. And so the other thing about an online dating app, or through social media or whatever, it is global. It's not local, right? And so it could be anywhere in the world that you match with somebody. So you could be sitting here in Evans, Georgia, and match with someone who's in Canada or Alaska or Korea.
And that's huge, actually. It's a very important point. And you'll actually hear stories about people who met during the pandemic. Maybe someone here in the US, somebody else maybe in Europe could not connect because of travel restrictions. Or maybe you meet somebody East Coast, West Coast. And you hear stories about this all the time where people are trying to figure it out. Like, am I going to move? Are we going to move? Is it worth moving? Because before you were limited to the club, your Walmart, and your church or whatever. There was a radius.
Yeah.
There is no radius now. Nope. Now the only limitation is like how. I mean, and you have video calls and all that stuff, right? So it's not just exchanging pictures. Like, how far are you willing to go to chance that this might be it? Right. And so that's actually not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it changes the game a bit in terms of how you make that connection happen. So that's what, doing something virtually having that opportunity. That's what it's done. It's pretty interesting.
Kind of remove that barrier, but that's one primary difference. So Jeff Hill, hey, thanks for joining us tonight. And we're back.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. So he says Love is Blind is another one of the reality series. They stay behind a door for a few days when they meet. Supposedly they marry in 3 weeks. So, those prearranged situations, right? So whether it's Married at First Sight or Love is Blind or an arranged marriage, we watched a series where they were Indian.
Yes.
People, and they used a matchmaker. Yeah. And
matchmaker.
Her job was to find their perfect mate. And families will hire this woman. They call her auntie, but they would hire her, and her primary responsibility was to find you your perfect match.
So that's another way, right? Depending on where you're from, I guess, your culture, having someone match the person up and say, boom, here, this is it.
Yeah.
Here is your spouse. Congratulations.
So here's the thing with the internet and our capability to communicate, connect, and share things instantly. Our timeline and the time frame for meeting someone, getting to know them, dating, and then getting married has been accelerated, right? Or at least our desire has been accelerated because we can have so many things. We have access to so many things, like right now access. So when it comes to dating, when you talk about traditional dating, in terms of being able to, I don't know, I guess there's really no real way to accelerate the process. You go through the process. Hold on.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you. You go through the process, which can take longer, right? So an app is quick. You can either swipe left or swipe right. You're kind of going through, and your decision making is as fast as my hand is going right now. Nope. Yes. Nope. Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But traditional dating, you have to first meet the person, then determine if you're going to go on a date. You set up the date that works with both of your schedules. You go on the date. And then when you're on the date, there may be some apprehension. How many dates have you been on? Who did you date before? How's this date going to go? I've been waiting for a long time. I don't know how long you've been waiting. So there's all of this buildup before you have the date. You meet for the date, and then you have your date. You spend the time together. And then depending on what you choose, and we never recommend going to a movie theater because then you're sitting side by side and there's not a whole lot of this way interaction. Yeah. But anyway, and so at the end of the night, the big decision is there going to be a second date? Well, that can take time.
That's funny. I'm like, okay, is that the big decision? I guess that's a big decision. Yeah. That.
Yes. The big decision is there going to be a second date? Okay. And so then there's a second date, and then there's the third date. And then, so it's a process that takes time. Versus no, yes, no, yes.
Well, a friend of mine, Casey said, we're talking about important dating. Yeah.
Not hookups.
Important dating. And so, that's another kind of app. But that's the, okay. So look, there's a, you got me messed up with the whole, like, the decision thing.
Well, I like what Nicolette said. What? She said, being from a small town, the idea of meeting someone in another state or country increase the chance that the one is not your cousin.
That's hilarious. Yes.
Amen
it does.
to that.
Indeed it does.
Yeah.
So
that's the big decision, Mike.
y'all were thinking it too.
Yeah. So
what's it gonna be?
Yeah,
so,
but I saw you put a little check mark. I know I had talked about that before, in terms of misrepresentation, right? So what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, so when you meet somebody face to face, whether it's a blind date or somebody brought you together or you met somewhere else and then you come together for that first date, sometimes people show up and they're trying to give you what they think they need to give you, right? They're trying to be everything. They're trying to make themselves desirable, right? And attractive. They want to do things. They want to say the right things. They want to act the right way. And they want to woo you, like to lure you in. The same thing happens on dating apps, right? But I think when I talked about filters and people misrepresenting or using catfish photos or filters or whatever else, it's the same thing, but just a different platform.
That's true. I think so. Because you can, put that best foot forward. I'm going to clean the car up tonight and all that stuff. But maybe normally you don't do that. But I think, there are some, I think as far as, like virtual stuff, online things, there are some things that do actually help you to filter people out. But then again, a lot of those people you would never date in the first place. For example, a friend of mine showed me on her dating app, it said, one of the posts was basically something to the effect of, if you can't like cook a meal and fix a truck, like keep swiping or something to that effect. Right now, I got to imagine that dude, you probably see him coming, and it probably wouldn't necessarily be a love connection if that's not your thing in the first place. You probably know that person.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, the fix the truck part, that's hilarious. Anyway, but there's all kind of, I was kind of surprised at me, and there's all kind of things out there that people put out on social media. They just make it kind of easy, right? So I think for some of your rule outs, it can be pretty easy. It can make it easy for you, right? But there's so much more to the story than that. It's very often. So maybe it's about kind of shrinking down the pool a bit, and maybe it's about taking your chances. Like, hey, if I miss a diamond in the rough, but I like get rid of a whole lot of garbage, that's worth the risk. Cost benefit.
Yeah, well, I love that. One of the commercials I've seen recently, it's like a son with his mom, and she's going through, and they're scrolling through, and she's like, no, and he's kind of helping her out, which we've seen that represented a number of times. So Reggie Jackson says, "What's wrong with catfish photos?" Deception is never a good thing, Reggie. We're trying to get people to be their true selves, right? Be yourself. That's how you're going to win somebody over.
And just in case we're in Georgia, right? Reggie, we're talking about deceptive photos, not like catfish from
like a catfish from the lake.
I just want to make sure I put it out there. All right.
But anyway, so the way that it's being marketed is that the younger people are helping their parents or older people who may not be tech savvy, but she's going through and she's like, no. And then she decides on the one. It's a Bounty commercial of all things. It's not a dating app commercial. She finds the one and he's like, he's a 8 or whatever, a 7. And she says, he's a 9. I
thought she said he was a 10. Whatever.
I don't know. But then she's so excited she knocks something over. Yeah. And so Bounty commercial. It really is a representation of the day and time that we're currently in.
Yeah. That's where we are. And so I think it's important to think about those things. Here's a question I want you to just ponder as we begin to turn the corner on this conversation. Who do you trust in terms of finding the one, identifying that person that's going to be the one for you? Who do you trust?
Yeah,
I want to let that sit for a second. That was for dramatic effect. But who do you trust, really, right? Because there's a lot of folks who, this is the online thing. That's the way.
Yeah.
Right. There's some people who are like, oh, nope, we'll never do that. Like, I need to see with my own eyes. I need to be able to talk to people. I need to be able to
smell them.
That.
I mean, you can look great and smell really bad.
But, and by the way, on the smell thing, I don't want to turn this into science class, so I won't. But smelling good, really important. As long as that smell good is attached to a good experience. Because our smell is plugged directly into the emotional center of your brain. If something really good happens and you smell something good, like you get that feeling when you're talking about that person, like, oh yeah, you. Yeah. And you smell that at the same time, you will remember that for decades.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we love popcorn at the movies, and we like the smell of funnel cake.
That's why. And I'm convinced that there's somebody out there near the intake vents at the movies. You turn on the popcorn thing and they're just doing this. Get it up into the AC system.
Yeah, but we associate the smell with a good experience. Yeah. And so smells are powerful. When it comes to physical attraction and attraction overall.
Tend to your cologne, brothers. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, but I'll leave that one alone. So okay. So if you just joined us, we're Mike and Wendy, and we're talking about the difference, comparing and contrasting traditional dating versus online dating. I was going to say pheromones, and then I decided, see, you were in my head, right? So there are advantages and disadvantages both ways. What?
Nothing. I'll be like, don't worry about the cologne, brothers. Just walk around.
It is what it is. There's something about it. So we were, where were we when the person was talking about the right knee?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It was on TV, wasn't it?
No, I don't think that was on TV.
Anyway, tell them what the
talking
right
about
is.
Dancing. So there are a number of ways that we, as humans, take in information and choose our mates, right? And so you talked about some of the psychological ways, physiologic attraction, and so there are certain things that just. If you watch Animal Planet or Discovery Channel, even the way that animals catch each other's attention. So you're talking about smell or smelling good, right? Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Certain smells attract certain people. Some smells are a turn off. It just depends. And it's hard to kind of find the right mix.
But I tell you what, if you run into somebody and you're like, you keep walking.
It's probably not that one.
Yeah.
Dancing is another thing. Mm-hmm. So if you ever seen, and so we joke about it all the time, but Mike has his own little peacock bird dance that he would do from time to time. If you ever seen it, it's always the male that is more ornate, that has some kind of little dance that does something to get the attention of the female. Almost always to get the attention of the female. The male peacock is the one that is more beautiful and more ornate than the female. So it's just an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I don't consider myself ornate, but
yeah.
I might have a dance or two.
Yeah, you have a dance or two. And something we saw said something about is, if you are moving your right knee, something about the right knee, if a man can dance and he is fluid in his movements, that's also attractive to some women. And so if you're a woman that loves to dance, then you might be looking for a man that loves to dance as well. There's just so many possibilities out there. There's not just one science. There's not one size fit all for everyone. And that's why they call dating a game, right? It's a process. It is something that you have to go through in order to find your perfect match.
Yep. Reggie said, how about a catfish that smells good? And Nicolette, she's reading my mind as well. She's like fried. Exactly. Dipped in some cornmeal or something and fried up. Just fried. We're talking about he's connecting those dots.
A catfish that smells good. No.
A good smell of catfish.
A catfish is someone who is purposely deceiving someone else in order to first gain their affections, right? They are misrepresenting themselves. They are being deceitful. They are not telling the truth. And that's there's risk in that. So
yeah, so exactly.
So no, even if the catfish smells good, no.
This is not the catfish that you want to dip in cornmeal and fry up. So just want to be clear on that. So
oh my goodness.
So but I asked the question again though.
Yeah.
Who do you trust to find the right one? How hard do you look even? Mm-hmm. There's some people who decide they're not going to look at all. Mm-hmm. There's some people who have who are really looking, actively searching. All right. where do you fall on that? Who you trust, and how do you know that you found that person?
Yeah. And, so I said I would be curious to know if we would be matched. And then someone said they're not sure that they would be matched with their person. And so that's one of those things, right? I'm not suggesting that you go through an app to see. We saw, we watch a lot of TV. We saw a whole movie about that too. You remember that? It was a series. Was it called The One?
Where they did what?
They used pheromones, and they were like matching people with their one match. Even people that were already married to people.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yeah, it was a movie. I was thinking it was like a reality show, but that was a movie.
It was a series.
Oh, it was a series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right, because it was. That's very interesting. They did do that.
Yes, they did that.
So,
yeah.
I mean, go figure.
That was something, because then people were wondering if the one they were with was the actual one, and so it caused like some major disruption in their relationships.
Which kind of that brings back the whole idea of like, well, we're together. Mm-hmm. Let's see how compatible we are.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, because humans, we're also naturally curious, sometimes curious to a fault.
Yes.
Right. So, because when I ask you, and some of you all may know where I'm going with this, when I say, who do you trust in terms of finding that person? Because, you could certainly make the argument that, hey, God, we have technology, right? We have the ability to sort through a whole lot of things and to be able to look at these people and read and study them a little bit before we ever meet them.
Yep.
And so that's part of my process, and that's fine. You may be on the side of, well, I'm not going to let technology do it, right? I'm going to trust me, as Jeff says, right? I'm going to trust myself. I kind of know what right looks like, what right feels like. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do it. Right. You might be one who's like, well, I'm going to like bring this person home. A lot of people do that. Right. I'm going to have my family and my friends kind of vet them a little bit and tell me what they think. Question is, who do you trust and who do you need to trust? And so if you've seen us before, then you know, 9 times out of 10, sometimes not, but most of the time there's going to be a scripture around that thing, right?
Yeah.
And so tonight, actually, it is the one that is Wendy's favorite.
Yeah, my favorite scripture is Proverbs 3:5-6, right? And it starts with the word trust. But it's not trusting in yourself, it's trusting in the Lord, really with everything that you have. Because often what we do is we lean on our own interpretation, our own understanding, what it is that we can wrap our minds around as we do things. And yeah, thank you, Nicolette, for dropping that in there. And so, that scripture says specifically, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And then the rest of it is, in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths or make your path straight, depending on which resource and reference you're looking at. And so the thing about that is, we often try to take things into our own hands. We believe that we know what's best for us. And then there are times when we question that, right? So even when we make a bad decision or there are red flags that come up, we often will still kind of stand by the decision or the choice that we made, believing that we are not in error. But when you put God first, when you really kind of resolve and accept that, his thinking is better than your thinking, right? His way is better than your way. When you're able to accept that and kind of move in that place, then there's less stress on you, less pressure on you to get it right. And so when we talk about assurances as it relates to the word and what God says he will do, it is our belief that he will grant you the desires of your heart. And so does that mean that dating is not a process that Christians actually take part in? No, that's not what that means. It's not what that means. I heard somebody say before that, if you're a Christian, then you don't play the field. You don't date different people. You wait, you maintain your virginity before you get married. And then once you're married, then that solidifies your relationship. All of those things that are spoken over people who are Christians. And that it's just not necessarily true for every person that proclaims Christ as their savior. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, because I think sometimes we put ourselves into a narrow, really, really narrow category of what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And even among the dating apps, the online dating apps, there's a special category of Christian online dating apps.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. You hit the brakes hard right there. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. And so I'm just well, first of all, I gotta say, like, because Nicolette, you like dropped that little heat right there. I don't want to jump over that, because she said, trust the Holy Spirit. Have your guy friends or male family vet them. Listen to the wisdom of those that have been there, done that. Pay attention to the red flags. It's easier to see the flags when you keep your pants on. Yes. Right there, because your judgment. It's just not flawed. It is gone once you introduce sex into the relationship.
Yep.
The judgment goes, right? And so now your decision-making process changes, right? And that's why you can fall in love. You connect with anybody and feel connected and attached to anyone.
Yep.
Right? And so what she said, I think all that is pretty sound, right? Because what does God directing your path look like?
Yeah.
What does having a path directed look like? It looks like closed doors and stop signs in a path, right? Yeah. And so people who care about you can be part of that process. But so there's this balance. So I don't believe that you totally eliminate them, and I don't believe that they carry all of the decision-making responsibility, right? But there's something about people being exposed to other people. If it's just like, you know what, Wendy, I don't know about Wendy, right? If you tell me that, you can get on my face. But like, if I met Wendy, back in the day, and we go to a party or whatever, and a friend of mine says, man, you know what, she was kind of like, talking to me a little strong. And I'm like, I got a decision to make.
Yeah.
Right? Because people, when they're around different people see different things.
True.
And so you don't want to give people the power to make decisions in your relationship, especially early on. Just be listening.
Yeah.
Paying attention to what you see. And so that's whether you meet them online or whether you do the traditional thing, because at some point it's got to be two people in the same place, same time. Right. And they'll be meeting family and all that stuff. And so, I don't believe you go around to just if you want to throw them to the wolves, cool. I like that myself. I love the process. Yeah. But it's not necessary to give the decision making to people, right? I think it's about, because the way that Wendy and I met, we met at work, but we actually met at work after both of us unknowingly were kind of praying for that person. And I told God, hey, you know what? Send her. I will recognize her, and the answer will be yes. And so less than 2 weeks later, in she walks. Right now, even when she walked in, I didn't know that she was it. Right, I wasn't sitting there thinking, I'm gonna marry her.
Right.
But what I told my dad was like, man, this girl I met, there's something. Right. That's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it evolved into this 23 plus years later.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, we've talked about this too, where people say, well, I'm not sure that I married the one for me, right? The one that God intended me to marry. The way that we came together was not like our way, or not a traditional way. But we're together. And, we've received some guidance on that. And the bottom line is if you were married, if you are married, you were married in a church. You both, look, you weren't married in a church, and you both entered into a covenant relationship, right? If you're in covenant, then that person that you're with is the one. There's no question. You don't have to go to any online app. You don't have to take any kind of DNA test. You don't have to do anything. The person that you're with is the person that God intended for you to be with.
Unless you're in a small town, you might want to get that DNA test. It's just jokes, small town people. Look,
no.
So, but I think it's that, and that goes way back to what we talked about earlier. If you were to, would you be compatible if you were to take some type of a test or something? Well, if you're in a covenant relationship, it doesn't matter, because the truth is you're going to find, no matter who you marry, what your process is, you're going to find some things that you think are incompatible. You're going to find some things that you don't necessarily like. You're going to find some things maybe that annoy you. Maybe they're not your way, whatever. You're going to find those things.
Yeah.
Period. And so then the question is not, did I marry the right person? The question is, where's my heart now? Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I mean, that's the question. Where is your heart? Now,
yeah.
I'll continue, right?
Yeah.
Because marriage is not about finding the perfect person. Marriage is about loving someone enough to love them as they are, in the same way that Jesus Christ loves us.
That's good.
As we are.
Yeah.
Right? That's what marriage is.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can do all the homework and the research you want. Ultimately, you don't get around having to make a decision, making a choice to love somebody, perhaps more than you love yourself.
Yes. And you know, as we talk about dating and selection and the process and all that, you know, we've heard from some of our friends that are singles and some of you that are here in the marriage shop that, you know, that there can be a point in time where it's like, I'm a little thirsty. There's some desperation kind of setting in. How long is it gonna take? I'm 35. We've heard that too. And don't allow desperation to accelerate your process.
Yeah. So you have to, who do you trust? Right? Who do you trust? Now, of course, I think whenever we kind of go down a road like this, it's important to recognize that there are some people who don't need to be in your life. Period. Right? You married them, but you found out you married somebody who is abusive and beating you. Or maybe you need to, get some distance and get out of there. Right? There are some things, if you're in danger, then I don't even want to say it goes without saying. But you have to protect you. You have to protect your children. Children are involved, right?
Yeah.
That is the priority. Period. So we're talking more like, I discovered that you turn the plates away from the stream in the dishwasher. What? Who does that? Right?
Oh my goodness.
And
now, why do you put the dishcloths on top of the faucet? I'm not complaining. I just want to know. I like the way that
you used a real one.
Yeah, that was a real one. I thought that was interesting the way that you kind of weaved that and came at me with that one. That was good. I mean, it showed some growth.
Since we're talking about it. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it was but our faucet is like this high and there's like this thing hanging on. I'm like, what?
What is going on here? So anyway, John McNeil.
John McNeil, what's up, man?
Glad you could drop in. He's been there since the beginning.
Oh, wow.
With us. And Justice Smith, always glad when you can join us. Yes,
good to see you.
So yeah.
And I saw Avis, a guest of Jeff. Thank you for coming and joining us tonight, Avis.
We know Avis.
Oh, okay.
Avis Burris, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need both names to get it right. But
okay.
Anyway, but we got some knowledge flowing in here.
Yes.
Let me see. Nicolette asks, what are you willing to live with? What are you not willing to live without? Interesting. Did y'all see? You get that question?
Yeah, that's
right?
good. That's good.
And so because we talk a bit about the things that the must-haves and the deal breakers.
Yes.
Right. And so you got to know what those are. You got to know what those are before you get caught up. Y'all,
that's good.
Caught up. Y'all know what that. Before you get undressed, right? Before you fall deeply, madly in love, you have to pay attention to those things, right? Because
before you move in,
because you will overlook those things in the short term, and those will be the things that you will find that kind of chase you down later on, right?
Yeah. And then John said, I would suggest that marriage is loving someone unconditional with real love. It's the ability to love someone in spite of disliking some things about them.
Yes.
That's good. Wisdom right there.
Right. Loving somebody with all their flaws. It's all a package. You don't get to separate the package. You don't, right? So it's all a package. Love them or not. That's your choice. That's the decision. Love them, not love them. That's it.
Yes, yes.
Right. And with love then comes a lot of other things: forgiveness and patience and self-control and kindness.
And I could sacrifice.
Go on. Sacrifice.
Yes. Yeah. So that's our time. I mean, we were kind of going in. This might need a part 2. I'm not going to proclaim that it's going to be a part 2 next month on the second Monday. But
you've been making promises.
We certainly could continue to talk about this topic. So if you guys want us to keep talking about this, let us know. If you know someone that could benefit from what we shared tonight, make sure you tag them and bring them on in. Every second Monday is our time to talk directly to singles, but we invite everyone to come in because we rely on the wisdom, the knowledge, and what of everything that you all share and the insights of other married couples. So Lisa Davis, welcome to the Marriage Shop. Lisa. And she says, I just found out about the two of you by looking for a marriage retreat.
What?
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. So we look forward to that. Send us a DM and we will get you some more information on that. So that's just awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're actually toying around with an idea. Should I share them?
Nope.
No. Okay. Sorry. No ideas for you. Wendy said no. So that's it. You have to wait till next time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's it for us tonight. You gonna pray?
I think I will.
Oh, I think I owe them some information too. So I'm going to find that email real quick.
Okay. What information are we sending tonight?
The buy one, get one.
Oh, the buy one, get one. Weekend to Remember. Yeah. So the fall season is about to kick off.
Yeah.
Weekend to Remember. We will be speaking in, can I tell people where we're speaking?
Sure, you can.
Okay. So we'll be in Chattanooga, but there are going to be events all over the country, and so you can kind of check out a place near you and see. We know there's going to be one here in Augusta. That's going to be the weekend.
Yep, it's September 10th, 11th, and 12th at the Augusta Marriott and Convention Center. So you want to make those reservations early if you want to stay at the hotel. And I talked about that half off pricing or the buy one get one or half off pricing is that window begins on August the 23rd. So if you want to go and that was in your plans, August 23rd, that's when you need to go online and register.
Well, there you go.
That's it.
See? All right. So if you all don't mind, I'm going to pray for y'all and pray for Saul. We're going to get out of here. You ready?
Yeah. Okay. I don't even know if we still have a group name. We might have to give them our group name.
Yeah, but we'll give you all.
Come back next week and we'll give you our group name.
Yeah, so because you'll need that in order to get the half off pricing.
Yep.
We'll give you that. We don't want to give you the wrong. We've had several over the years, so I don't want to mess that up for you all.
Okay.
All right. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just come tonight just thanking you for being God. Thank you for who you are in our lives and how you bless us every day. We ask that you bless all the couples listening and watching. Be with them in their marriage and their homes. Bless their families. Help them to love quickly and always and to forgive more quickly. Just help us all to be more like you. And we'll be sure to give you all the honor, the glory, and the praise. We thank you, we love you, and we trust you. We pray these and other blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, y'all, that's it. We're going to close this out here. You all know what it is.
Yes. Thanks, Avia. We appreciate that.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yes.
She said the book is awesome.
Yes.
So, well, I know you knew that. I was telling everybody else in case they weren't looking at the chat. Anyway, all right, y'all. We're going to close out with my man, JC, and our single, Lifetime.
That's awesome.
We'll see you next time, all right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's your boy, JC. I'm in the mood. Love, yeah. Lately I've been constantly thinking about you, babe. You drive me crazy, yeah. And girl, I want it. Got me all up in my feelings. Over the feeling, yeah. I knew the first time I laid eyes on you that you would be here forever. I'm not being arrogant, and I still can't take my eyes off you. 'Cause you made me better, so much better. I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime, baby. Yeah. I love your kindness, I love your confidence. Ooh, you're the finest. So glad you're mine, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't wanna be with nobody else. Give me your love, that's all the wealth I need. Baby, you're priceless to me, yeah. To love you for a lifetime, I'm in the mood to love you for a lifetime, yeah. Whoa. Promise I'ma be around, I'ma always hold you down. Won't you come and hold me now? Won't you come and hold me now? I just got no cool, yeah, I know I got a rule, but I always keep it down with you, yeah. And I know they see, girl, you're my queen, and beauty speaks for itself loud and clear, yeah. So throw it in the air. It's the sweetest sound to follow my ear. And I want the world to know I'll love you forever. And that's a long time, babe. But I got time for you, baby. I'm in the mood. Ooh, for a lifetime. I'm in the mood to love you, yeah. For a lifetime, baby. Ooh, yeah. For a lifetime, for a lifetime, yeah, yeah.